So Jenna Bader, who is with Redwood Energy and manages our LEED certification process, she'd like to share with you our best practices in LEED Platinum design, because we've done like 30 or 40 projects that we've been on that have gone to LEED Platinum, and we've managed not more than like maybe 5 or 6 or something, but we've been around this LEED Platinum strategy and given a lot of advice to a lot of projects. So this will be like strategy, how to do affordable housing, LEED Platinum style, and also some of the costs and benefits. So we'll have some financials too. Thank you, Jenna. You want to say hi to us?
Hello, yes, this is Jenna Bader with Redwood Energy. Thank you for the introduction, Sean.
Thank you, Jenna.
This has been a really fun day to attend all the talks. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, you're perfect. Your screen's perfect. Your voice is perfect.
Great. Oh, thanks.
I've always liked your voice.
So yeah, today we're going to talk about LEED Platinum. And there we go. So introduction about myself and Redwood Energy. I hold a Bachelor of Science in Environmental Science, Energy and Climate from Humboldt State University. And Sean and Michael brought me on with Redwood Energy shortly after I graduated in 2014. Since then, I've been working as a CEA for residential, LEED for homes, Green Rater, Build It Greens, Greenpoint Rater, and working towards California Utility Allowance Calculator projects. And there's a picture of me on the right, and on the bottom is an awesome picture of one of our solarized projects that I'm going to be talking about today. Redwood Energy has guided the design of about 100 all-electric solarized projects, and we specialize in all-electric, zero-net energy, multifamily, affordable housing throughout California. So today, Sean pretty much gave a great overview of my presentation, talk about the benefits of all-electric and LEED projects, how a California project stands in the LEED checklist as is, and explore a case study project. So I'm sure you all are aware of some of the benefits of all-electric construction, but I wanted to highlight some of my favorites. So obviously there's going to be a reduced carbon dioxide emissions for the project compared to natural gas construction. And that's one of the key takeaways that Redwood Energy really prides ourselves in for doing all electric projects, is just getting rid of the carbon. Another benefit is the reduced utility bills for residents, and especially that's true when you pair it with solar panels, and also the time of use rates for the utilities in California. So other benefits are improved energy efficiency. You know, you can only get up to 100% efficient with gas furnaces, but with heat pumps and other fun electric technologies, you could get up to 300% efficient. So that's another great benefit. And for affordable housing developments, particularly, there are even more increased benefits of adding solar combined with all electric, especially when you consider the California Utility Allowance Calculator. Like Sarah was mentioning in her presentation earlier, briefly, I will also briefly talk about the $5 minimum monthly charge with care rates. That's pretty much what we're allowed to get using the QAC software with a super energy efficient building, 100% offset solar, and you have a care rate for low-income families and or individuals. And that's a pretty awesome utility bill to be getting every single month throughout the year. $10 minimum with standard rates as well. The benefits of going for LEED for homes are, you know, there's a lot of ways in the LEED checklist to basically like be flexible with your project. And I think some of the pillars about the program are reducing the environmental impacts of construction and also conserving resources during the construction process as well. improved thermal comfort, not having to use as much energy to be comfortable in the building, reduced energy bills, water bills, and also reducing your water consumption on site. And then energy efficiency. So on the USGBC website, I found this really cool little table on the bottom that says, based on the average HERS ratings for each level of LEED certification, these homes could potentially see energy reductions of 30% for the bare minimum LEED certified homes, all the way up to 50 to 60% energy reduction for LEED platinum homes. So the benefits are pretty much across the board for going all electric and also for going for LEED certification. So I thought it would be interesting to just show with a standard California project using 2016 code, because this was just the last code cycle of projects that we actually certified. So using 2016 code with Cal Green and passing energy compliance, and also for an all electric building and all the LEED prerequisites, you're basically at silver certification level. So yeah, I mean, there's some costs involved with getting the project actually certified, which is like, I don't know, a couple thousand. It depends on how many buildings you have, but I mean, it's pretty convincing to just look at a bare minimum California project and see that you're not too far away from platinum as is. So the Woodland California project is one that just finished up construction last year. There was a phase 1 of the project on the top left-hand side of this image, and then the bottom right side of the image is this phase 2 that I'll be discussing for the rest of the presentation. So this project basically achieved every certification you could think of for new construction, multifamily, affordable housing. Excuse me. So 39 apartments for low-income families and farm workers in Woodland, all electric, Department of Energy Zero Energy Ready Homes program, Energy Star Indoor Air Plus. Phase 1 was recognized by the World Habitat Awards in 2017, and this project also received funding by the USDA, having 105% zero net energy, using rooftop solar and also carport solar that you could see in the image, and 5% off-grid storage using water heaters as a thermal battery. So basic construction of the project, just to show the key features of this project. Keep this in mind because the next slide I'm going to talk about some of the costs, the incremental costs. So just to see, like, the walls, pretty standards, 2x6 framing, R23 blown fiberglass insulation with OSB sheathing. The roof has a radiant barrier and Energy Star cool roof shingles that helped with the energy compliance because it's in a hot area, hot climate. The attic is R49 blown in fiberglass. Windows are super efficient, dual pane, low E argon filled windows. For ventilation, there's continuous exhaust fans in the bathrooms and passive supply inlets to make more of a balanced system, and MERV 11 filters. The HVAC system is a ductless mini split heat pump in every unit, HSPF 10, SEER 23, EAR 12.5. Water heater, everybody had
Can I interject for a second? I just want to point out that that's the system that Sarah earlier was recommending, having a heat pump in each room. And I think this is the only apartment complex they've done where they've actually done that. So they've got sort of like what a middle-class household in China would have, a fan coil in every room, which is very nice and comfortable. Thanks for letting me interject there.
Sure. Yeah, so they do have multiple zones, so they can control the thermostat in each room, which is an awesome bonus for families. So individual tank water heaters, they draw energy at nighttime when it's cheaper and less, just easier on the grid, basically. So, and those are 3.7 energy factor, which is like 370% efficient, and 100% lighting, 105% rooftop solar, and they have PV tracking system for energy management. This was one of the requirements for one of their certification programs. I'm not sure which one, but it's super helpful because, you know, we get to see the design of the project, we get to follow it through construction and verify it. And then at the end, we can play around with the numbers and see what's actually happening. So that's another reason why I really like this project and wanted to share it, is because we actually know a lot about it throughout the whole cycle of construction. So on the right is just some images from the QAI inspections and air sealing, just like everything was done so incredibly well to make sure it was a tight envelope. So for the incremental cost of Zero Energy Ready Homes program, that was kind of what we analyzed before, but it basically encompasses all the construction of this project. So on the left-hand side, without thinking about the solar, as you go down from the top to the bottom, there's the total incremental cost of Zero Energy Ready Homes requirements, or basically like this project's green building requirements, all of them. So the incremental cost for this entire project is $126,000. Broken down per apartment is about $3,000 per apartment. And then when you include the utility rebates that this project received for having all of their super efficient appliances and whatnot, you come out to about $2,500 per apartment in additional costs to get it above standard to what it is now. So the next column in yellow is going to be with solar. So the pre-rebate total of their solar array was 480,000 roughly. And then the, let's see, per apartment, that comes down to $12,000 roughly. And then the rebated cost per apartment is about $6,500 for the solar. So then the far right table with all green is like all of that mixed up together. And you basically come out with a post rebate cost per apartment. And you have about $9,000 for like the final total incremental cost of this project with all those layered rebate benefits and everything. I think it comes out to about 8% of the project costs. And it's, I mean, to big developments like this, it's really just not even that big of an issue. So the benefits, I think, far outweigh the costs. And that was kind of what I wanted to show. So now we'll get into.
Did you show the QAC benefits?
I did not include the QAC benefits for this, but if anybody is interested in seeing how much money this project was able to save and basically add based off of their QAC savings, I could definitely share that with you.
Cool. I think the upshot is it cost this much, but the total benefit flips it around so that there was like $400,000 of total benefit because of the reset of the rent. So this is the cost, but there was also the benefit side, which was, it was cost effective.
Right. Yeah, it's a huge benefit. And the QAC, I think, came out to like a $10 utility allowance for this project without care rates. So yeah, the difference of rent, or the difference of utility allowance from $10 in the QAC to like $150 or so from the public housing utility allowance. You know, consider that difference over time, like 10 years, 30 years. It's a huge benefit for the project. So like this would outweigh it within the first year, basically. So for the LEED for Homes checklist, I've kind of given like all the stats of the project, but I kind of want to show like how it fits into the LEED checklist and just make it not seem so hard to reach. because I think that's one big thing that I want to convey during this presentation is like, there's just so many things in LEED. It seems unattainable to get LEED Platinum, but when you actually break it down, this project was able to get to LEED Platinum by choosing some of the really smart options that benefit the residents, benefit the owners, and they did it affordably. So on the LEED scorecard for the project, the sections, basically you can see on the right side for integrative process, like 2 points on the left side is what this project achieved out of 2 total points. So that's kind of how the scorecard is structured, but the optional points that they took for integrative process that I highly recommend is like in the beginning, you have a design charrette with everybody on board right in the beginning so that you can understand what the project goals are and just try and do that dance as early as possible of figuring out how to handle those goals and how to make them happen. And then monthly meetings with the construction team is another point that they took in this section, which is another huge benefit for the project. And like, you should be doing that anyway, I think, if you're trying to, especially if you're trying to achieve a lot of these green building goals. And then trades training as well. So taking some time on site to explain how to do the installation properly and things like that. So the location and transportation section, there's a mandatory requirement that you can't be in a floodplain. And then for their optional points, they got 8 points here, basically just for the way that they were, where they were located, close to services, and then also for the number of dwelling units per acre. For the next section, sustainable sites, the mandatory requirements are just basically minimizing your construction pollution and no invasive plants. One thing that they did for optional points here is the rainwater management section. They got 3 out of 3 points there for basically handling all of their rainwater on site. And then in addition to that, they have a gray water system, which is just on the bottom center photo. And it's just, they are pulling water from the community laundry and using that in their super low irrigation landscaping. For non-toxic pest control, that's like very simple things that people usually do, just like keeping plants away from the building and things like that. For water efficiency, this project almost maxed out their total water use points for the whole site. So the performance path is what we took here for 10 out of 12 points. And that takes into consideration all of your indoor water fixtures, which are outlined on the bottom right-hand corner. So there's a column here on the right for Cal Green, and then on the far right for the actual fixture water usage. So super low flow for kitchen sinks was 1.5 gallon per minute. Bathroom sink 1.2, toilets were 1.28 gallon per flush, and the shower heads were 1.5. But I think they got even lower for the shower heads because they have these Evolve shower heads on the bottom left-hand corner. And yeah, they light up green when you're having a short shower, and then if it starts to get a little too long in the shower, it'll kind of flash a color to let you know. I thought that was a cool element that this project did. And then also they have like a shut-off valve in the shower, so you could turn the water on and then let it heat up, and it won't actually come out of the faucet or won't come out of the shower head until it's heated. And then you just like pull a string basically, and it starts up nice and hot for you. So the indoor water use is one component of that performance path for water. The other is the outdoor water use. And this project has super low flow drip irrigation, super minimal turf landscaping. On the right-hand side, you can see they have like a lot of wood chips, and they have fruit trees around the property, a lot of edible landscaping that's drought tolerant as well. For the energy section, some of these mandatory requirements are essentially about like sizing your systems properly, having a sub-meter for each residence, sometimes each building, depending, and then also educating the homeowner or the tenant on what is included in their apartment. So beyond the requirements, there's the annual energy use, which we got even more points than we're allowed, it looks like, but it's because it's a California project. They give us a lot of points there, and I'll talk about that on the next slide for the energy use from Title 24. But in this section, just wanted to point out, they got a couple of points for efficient hot water distribution. They had those, the 80-gallon heat pump water heater tanks for thermal storage, but in the LEED checklist, they got credit for having the R4 pipe installation and for a reduced pipe length so that they're not traveling the hot water too far in the units. And then advanced utility tracking, just going down the scorecard list, they got a point for doing the Energy Star portfolio manager. And this was already another requirement for another program they were doing, so it was an easy point there. And HVAC startup credentialing was just having somebody who was installing the HVAC equipment NATE certified or an EPA recognized certified program. And then they got basically free bonus points for high efficiency appliances because all of them are Energy Star. And I believe that's a requirement of QAC anyways. So for some of the energy highlights that got us that 27 out of 25 points, it was done in the 2016 code for the Title 24. And this was, again, an all-electric project with PV. So we use the lowest case scenario project. So if we have multiple energy models for different buildings, we use the worst performing building for our checklist. And the worst performing one here was 24% above standard. And then in the checklist, we actually use the EDR score for this LEED version 4. So the EDR score of standard efficiency versus the proposed efficiency, that's basically taking into account what's included in that percent improvement just above it. It's all of the building efficiency measures, and then you add the PV and the off-grid storage, and you come out with a final proposed energy design rating of 2.2, which is super low. I think 0 is where you really want to be for the zero net energy. Varies a little bit, but that was what we got for those points. So another section for LEED is materials and resources. Basically, this is where it states that you need to have the Energy Star program. So for LEED, you don't actually have to certify to Energy Star, but you do need to follow it. You need to design for it and also inspect for it and pass Energy Star. So that's one of the requirements here. You can't use tropical wood. That's another requirement. And then for their points on this project, they did, basically I went through and I rechecked the water management system builder checklist through Energy Star just to have third-party verification. So that was an easy point. And then environmentally preferable products, they got 1.5 points here for having local aggregate. So it's within 100 miles, it's extracted and processed and brought to the site. So that reduces your carbon. They have low, I think it was low VOC flooring. And then for construction, and also recycled insulation has recycled content. So that was their environmentally preferable products. And then construction waste management, I think this project was able to get about 70% waste diversion. And LEED for homes requires that you have 3 separate diversion streams from waste. And then material efficient framing is just like sizing headers properly to handle the loads, and doing, I think California corners were the other one that they got. So then the environmental quality is a big section in LEED. They have a lot of requirements here. A lot of it is also covered if you get the EPA Indoor Air Plus certification. So it basically mirrors the EPA Indoor Air Plus certification, this whole section, with a few exceptions. But primarily this is taking into account like the ventilation for the building, if you have combustion, if you have a garage, if you have radon in your area, you need to mitigate that. This project didn't have to worry about any of that. You're not allowed to have tobacco smoke on the premises. And then one big requirement is a compartmentalization blower door test. So essentially you'd want to get the thermal bypass checklist through Energy Star. You're already kind of setting yourself up for success by doing all of that that's already required. So this is just making sure that each apartment individually passes the blower door test for air tightness. This project's enhanced ventilation. For 3 points, they had continuous bathroom fans and MERV 11 filters. For the balancing of heating and cooling distribution systems, like Sean mentioned before, they have the split heat pump with a different head in each bedroom. So there's a photo on the right. On the very top is the outdoor compressor, and then just below that, I got a cool photo of the little thermostat on the wall with the Energy Star fan, and then with the indoor air unit. There was no combustion venting, so we got, or no combustion, so it didn't require that. Venting, so we got 2 points there for free, and no garage, we got 3 points there. And then low emitting products at the very end. Pretty much any California project is already preparing for this, so I would say those are an easy 3 points. They just take a little bit of guidance, and then also reviewing submittals is really helpful too, just to make sure that you're following Cal Green and you're also not having any products that have formaldehyde or a lot of VOCs. So especially on the bottom, I just showed the carb composite wood compliance. And then for insulation products, you should have Green Guard Gold to verify that you don't have formaldehyde and it's good indoor air quality. Low VOC paints and caulks and sealants, which are pretty standard in California already. And then they don't actually include this in LEED, but it would be cool if they did, to just have something for electric cooking, because this project had some of these like flat top cooktops, and as we've heard in presentations today, the electric cooking is a lot healthier for indoor air quality as well. So the last section of the LEED checklist is
all right. 3:30 though, so you should probably tighten it up real quick so we can get to the next person respectfully.
Sure. So I'm just going to say these are some freebie points for innovation, and regional priority is basically giving benefits for projects in certain areas where LEED has identified some hot topics. So like in this project specifically, rainwater management was a big thing. A lot of drought in the area. So things like that can get you some bonus points as well for innovation and regional priority. So yeah, takeaways, California projects are already standing up pretty well for LEED Platinum projects. And basically it's not as scary as it seems. It's very doable. And I think that the costs are not that much more than standard construction, and the financial benefits over time will quickly exceed those costs. So thank you all very much.
And this housing was for low-income farm worker families, and hopefully we were able to illustrate, thank you Jenna, that requiring LEED Platinum of new construction is a reasonable thing to do. totally doable and probably a more just thing to do for those who have been disadvantaged by redlining and environmental pollution and racism and sexism, and go down a long list. There are communities that would benefit from this. So thank you, Jenna, for showing us how to get it done. That's